What's going on? This is Willie Jefferson.
I'm about that smoke, man. Come on down to Winnipeg. Come on down to Winnipeg, man.
You watching the Sideline Showdown.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sideline Showdown. Mike's still solo hosting this week. I've left the chair empty here. My main man, Kito, is not with us this week. A little bit lonely. He's in the States this week getting some great content for the show. Stay tuned a little bit later in the program for the first episode of Kito's Corner, where Kito is going to talk about the principles of a perfect athlete. Have the opportunity to sit down as well with Marcellus Bowman, by a Blue Bomber alum as well. So really excited for that a little bit later on. Also got a bunch of Winnipeg High School Football League content this week. Got the chance to go to Grant Park to check out the Pirates versus Steinbach, as well as Division III action between the Neyland Spartans and the Fort Francis Muskies. Also have a cool documentary style feature on Elmwood Giants running back Aaron Kasimba, who was born in Uganda, moved to Canada, and we'll learn a little bit more about his story and the relationship that he shares with Elmwood offensive coordinator John Kiesman down there at the Wood. But we are starting things off this week with the Manitoba Bisons. As we record this show, Manitoba coming up with a massive 37-19 homecoming victory over the UBC Thunderbirds to move to 2-2 this season. Earlier this week, I had the opportunity to catch up with Bison's first-year redshirt freshman receiver, Akiki Kasama, in his third year with the team, first-year eligibility, to learn a little bit more about his story. It's very, very incredible, and you're going to want to check it out. Mike Still for the Sideline Showdown, here with the starting Manitoba Bison slot back, Akiki Kasama. How you doing tonight, man?
Doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, appreciate your time, man. Obviously, it's a busy time of the year. You guys are prepping for UBC this coming weekend. So, yeah, I really thank you for being here. It means a lot.
Most definitely. It's a big game for us, so excited to just sit down and kind of unravel before then.
Absolutely. Let's start off all the way back at the start, man, with where you grew up, sort of your living situation, family background and that prior to football, and just sort of the roots of your life.
I'm from Sierra Leone. It's a country in the west side of Africa. Unfortunately, went through a devastating civil war when I was just about growing up, and me and my family, we came here as refugees. I actually had the opportunity to go back last year, and for me that was a very good trip going back since I've been there, because I was born there, but I don't really have all the recollection as how I was until 18. I get to actually understand and see things. So I went back last year right after the football season, and for me it was just amazing to kind of just gain back that perspective, gain another motivation, and really see where I come from and understand it. My parents have always taught us our culture and always remembering where we came from. Like my mom always says, if you don't know where you're going, know where you come from, and it shall lead you. And so, just getting that, I hear that every single day, but going back and really knowing where I am and, where I come from, it was amazing. And I think it really propelled me to where I am now.
Mm-hmm. Moving to Canada, what were some of the first emotions you had? What did you feel when you got off the plane and you're like, all right, well, okay, I'm in Canada, I'm living here now?
For me, when I think mingling with people was probably the biggest thing, just because, you're so in this one culture, and, I'm so used to the way I'm eating at home, the way we talk, just the way everything is, and I think the biggest thing was just, interacting with people. At that point when I was starting, because I came here when I was about 4, so, my memory's still it's a little still faint, but I still remember just interacting with others, and I kind of did feel a little bit left out, because everyone with the school I went to, there wasn't much black people there too, so it was kind of a little bit left out, but I was quick to, make friends. It's just my personality. I'm always willing to go and talk to people just because, I understand, not everyone gets that chance to always be with people, so when I was in that situation, I just tried to make the best of it. But
Makes sense. Again, a great perspective to
Yeah.
have. Now let's talk about football, man.
Yeah.
I mean, when did you start becoming interested in playing football, and how did you develop into being such a excellent player on the field at receiver?
I mean, football started for me when I was about 4th, 5th grade. Before that, I was playing basketball and track, and I come from a soccer family, which was really heavy in. But football was in 5th grade when all my friends, they were playing for Fort Gay Lions. And, I was fast at that time. I was kind of still running. They're like, hey, man, you should come on and play football. So I told my parents. My mom didn't want me to play actually right away. She was scared. She's like, my baby's going to get hurt. It's dangerous. I see these guys getting hit all the time. But, they saw that I had the passion for it. And my dad just said, hey, like, if you want to try it, just make sure that you're going to go through with it. And so 5th grade, I went and signed up with Fort Gay Lions. Started with a bunch of my friends there. And from there, it's been the history.
Have you always played receiver, or why'd you want to play receiver in first place?
So I started off all over the place. They kind of just used my athletic ability. I started playing safety, I played corner, I played running back, I played a little bit of quarterback, but it wasn't until about the 9th grade when I tried out for the provincial team. The first year was when I switched to receiver, because I went in as a running back, and I wasn't big at that time. I was still a small guy, but so I had speed and I was agile, so they moved me to receiver. And from there, it's kind of where my receivers career started off. Honestly, at first, I was a provincial team. Like, I was on the cusp of making it. I ended up being like a practice player and just continue to grind until like I got to like playing a game when we played against BC. I remember that. And then from there, I went to Massey, and that's when I think my receivers career actually started. I had a pretty good grade 9 season, which allowed me to go and play varsity next year. So, yeah.
I mean, you were, and then obviously transitioning now to university,
Yeah.
you were amongst a highly recruited crop of players that also included guys like Andreas Dueck, starting quarterback at McMaster. Eric Bajowski's also on the McMaster team now. Guys that are doing big things, of course. Why did you choose Manitoba, and what were some of the biggest lessons you learned right when you came here for your first season in 2017?
I mean, for me, choosing Manitoba was very easy. Like, I knew if I was going to play CIS football, I wanted to be at home. I wanted to be where my family was. I wanted to be where I grew up and, knew everybody I'm familiar with. And, Coach Dobie was amazing when recruiting me. He just welcomed me and just felt like it was just family right away. I've been talking to Dobie since I've been in the 10th grade, and it's just always been it's been more than just a recruiting relationship. It's kind of been, like, hey, like, this is family, and it just felt very, very easy and natural for me to come here.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Akiki.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure talking to you,
Thank
learning
you so
your
much.
story, and
Thank you.
all the best the rest of the year.
Thank you so much.
The Grant Park Pirates took on the Steinbach Sabres this past week in JV action, with Grant Park coming out with the victory in that particular game to move their record to 2-0. They've been a very impressive team so far this season, a number of grade 10s on that roster, and a big family atmosphere. I had the opportunity to sit down with quarterback Solomon Bond after the game as well to talk about just why this team is so close with each other. He says that they go to school and they wear suits on game days, they bond together, they go and eat lunch together, and it's a tight familial group. Really showed this week with their victory against Steinbach.
now this season. How's it feel to get this W?
Feels great, man. It's a long time coming. We got a special group of guys this year, and we're enjoying life. It's going great.
Moving on now to Division III action in the Winnipeg High School Football League, and it was the Brady Meeks and Levi Kansky show as Fort Francis and Neelan put on a clinic on the ground, with the Fort Francis Muskies coming out with a 50-25 victory and a very, very exciting matchup between those two squads.
It was a little difficult after week one with the tough loss that we took, but we bounced back this week at practice, and the score clearly showed today all our hard work.
Our main man, Kito Pobla, does not take a day off from work. He may be back down in the States visiting his roots, but he also got a lot of content for the Sideline Showdown, including an awesome new feature called Kito's Corner, where he's talking about the principles of a perfect athlete and the things that you can do to really help yourself when it comes to being a team first player and yeah, doing all that you can both on and off the field. Had the opportunity to sit down with Marcellus Bowman, a Blue Bomber alumni at linebacker, as well for this exciting new content.
Welcome to the first edition of Kito's Corner. I'm in sunny South Florida, and I got this week to be able to go back to my high school and visit and go see the homecoming football game. I also got the chance to go to the University of Miami and Central Michigan football game. And it's been a really amazing experience since I've been here. But anyways, this past week I've also been able to reconnect with some old teammates and basically get you guys some really solid and valuable information that's going to be coming up very shortly. My good friend and teammate Marcellus Bowman, who's at University of Central Florida right now, really got to sit down, chop it up with him, and really see the process of what it is to be recruited to a Division I college in today's age. And nothing's really changed from when I was a recruit as well, but the more advantages that there are now, especially with social media and stuff, which you guys are gonna hear about in this next couple minutes. But we had a really solid talk. And it's been really incredible to actually be able to reconnect with my friends and some of the people that I've played with who are doing really big things as coaches and scouts and recruits at these NCAAs. And this portion of Kito's Corner is going to be very informative, educational, and we hope you enjoy.
I was born in Montreal, raised in South Florida. Was a multi-sport athlete growing up as a kid. Went to Pines Charter High School, had multiple offers coming out of high school, and I ended up choosing Central Michigan University.
And you're watching Kito's Corner on the Sideline Showdown.
Hey guys, it's Kito Pobla here. For the first edition of Kito's Corner, I have a special friend, a guy I was able to play football with up here in Winnipeg. And now he's doing some really special things in South Florida, in Orlando with UCF. And Marcellus Bowman, thank you for coming on our show, the Sideline Show. How are you, man?
Man, it's a pleasure, man. I appreciate it. It's nice, man. Life is good. Life is good.
That's great, man. And so, we played back in the day for a couple of years with the Blue Bombers. I guess let everybody know, how you got to the Bombers and, like your journey, basically where it all started from, where you were raised and to high school and to college.
Yeah. So born and raised in Youngstown, Ohio. As I go through football, I kind of talk a lot of mess about how awesome Ohio football is in general. But I was coming up in Ohio at a pretty good time. A lot of good guys were coming out at that moment. But Liberty High School, started getting recruited my 10th grade year, 11th grade year. Thankfully, my cousin, Bradley Fletcher, he got recruited first. So I got to see that process with him first. But after he went through it, then I started getting looked at by various schools, landed on Boston College. It just felt most natural place for me when I went there for my visit. So played at Boston College from 2005, 2009. Had a lot of success, a lot of good times there as far as the team winning, a lot of guys going to the NFL, a few guys going to the CFL as well. After I completed that, on draft day, I signed with the Broncos as a free agent.
Nice.
Then I got cut there and then proceeded to go up to Canada, a place called Winnipeg that I knew very little about. But came up to Winnipeg and that was it. Actually came up as a Sam linebacker, which is essentially a DB, which was an experience in itself, but eventually ended up at the right spot as a linebacker.
Yeah, so I think a lot about what kids are missing out today. I guess in terms of that, the technology side of football, what would you recommend? I guess there's a lot of there's a lot of tools, there's a lot of ways to get your stuff out there, but what are coaches looking for?
So coaches are, obviously just looking for the tools. Because the thing about a coach is as a position coach, you trust your ability to get the most out of those players. And they know that as a high school player, you are going to be raw. Your technique is going to be raw. So you have to display something that they want. So, for example, as an offensive lineman, right, they want to see that grit. They want to see you finishing the play. They want to see you blocking, even though the ball, say, is 30 yards that way, you're still driving your guy to the side. They want to see that you have that aggression about you as a receiver. They want to see that separation. Can you catch the ball naturally? Right? Or are you fighting it? Right? Can you catch it in coverage? Because honestly, with receivers, if you're a good receiver, you'll have so much separation. Chances are you'll be open anyways. But they're looking for those raw attributes, those that speed, that quickness, the explosion, the acceleration. Obviously, size. So, from that perspective, what coaches are looking for, how good of an athlete are you? Right? That gets you in the door.
being Canadian, you played up here, and then also you got to train kids up here and actually see the difference between, the Canadian kids and the American kids. I guess for a kid like, in Canada who wants to play down south, I guess what are some key things that they have to understand to even be able to penetrate that?
So to penetrate the American market, for lack of a better term, you have to separate yourself so much from your competition up north.
Yes.
The density of athletes that is in America in different pockets, whether it's Florida, Georgia, Ohio, California, Texas, so on and so forth. There's so much competition. A lazy guy in America will have to raise his competition, or he'll just get bypassed, right? So when you look at it from a guy in Canada, where the density of guys who love football, the density of guys who are able to play at that level isn't as high.
Right.
You have to find different ways to separate yourself and play at such a high level that, an American team will take note of that. But once again, it's the same answer as the previous one as far as, displaying those raw skills. But the first thing is, say you're a skill position, gotta have the speed. Gotta have the speed for two reasons. One, the knock on northern teams in America, and then you go farther north and now you're in Canada, the knock is the speed, right? So you got to make sure the speed is there, because when a coach sees speed, he says, I can coach that, right? But it's hard to coach a slow player, right? So that's one of the first things you want is speed as a skilled athlete. As what we call the bigs, or the O lineman and D lineman, you have to have obviously the size, and more than anything, the aggression. If you got the size, that'll get you a look. If you got the aggression, that'll get you the nod. Because everything else is technique, and they can coach that up.
Yeah.
For guys who are like linebackers, we call them big skill linebackers, tight ends, so on and so forth. That's kind of the tweener, where you got to have some athleticism, but you also got to have, the size and different things like that. But more than anything for those guys is production. You got to have some production.
Right.
You got to see, as a linebacker, you got to see that you are instinctive. You can get to the ball on a regular basis. Right? And if they see that, okay, something special about this guy, they might invite you down to a camp or have you come down and ask for more table, whatever the case is. But, each position has to display something different, whether it's speed, size and aggression, production. But at the end of the day, when it is game day, you really have to show, hey, I am different from everyone else on this field. I mean, that goes across the board, but especially in Canada, if you're a Canadian athlete, and you want to come down to the American market.
Earlier in the program, you saw the interview I did with Akiki Kasama, a native of Sierra Leone. We're heading east now to talk to Uganda native Aaron Simba about his roots, as well as what instilled his passion for football and the values and importance that offensive coordinator and teacher for Elmwood, John Kiesman, has had in his life.
My parents grew up in Congo, and they apparently moved to Uganda, and that's where I was born. I moved here with my parents in 2016. I was so hyped to coming here because my parents convinced me how it's a better life, and I thought it's that way. But when I came here, I looked out of the window, nobody's passing my street, and I'm like, where's everybody? And the guy that brought us to the house was like, here kids don't play outside like they do in your country. I was like, whoa, that's quite different. So it was a whole year from 2016 to 17. I had to stay in the house, and it was so terrible. Just watching YouTube from morning to evening, because I didn't go to school for the first 4 to 3 months. And it was just boring. Just sleep and wake up just looking at the wall. My first sport that I called my ad first was basketball, and I used to tell myself one day I'm gonna turn into Kyrie Irving and be hooping. And then after I started liking football, and I started watching a lot of clips of Odell Beckham, and I just went outside with my brother, and we used to play with a soccer ball throwing at each other. And then my mom was like, how about you guys go buy a football? And then it was like $3. I went to this store. There's a store right here. I got a football. Didn't even have any skin on it. It was just bleached basketball, and then I bought it my brother. We just threw it in the backyard. Pretty much last year I played just defense. That's all I played. And then this year, I didn't really feel like I was gonna play football. I was like, I got hit a lot last year, so I might just quit. And then that's where Coach Kisman came to Elmwood.
He would have played in the fall. It was his first year when he played just DB. And then I guess into the new year, I started February 1st here. So it was as soon as he could, like, a couple months, I guess, right? And then first saw him, I was like, hey, here's a running back. Let's go. This guy's an athlete. Saw him on the basketball courts, saw what he could do, saw his body type. It reminded me of Barry Sanders when I first looked at him. I thought, okay, like this guy's quick, he's agile, he's fast, and he's strong, right? So let's try to, get this guy playing football, get him involved in everything that a football team can do with the family, right?
I just went for the first workout. I went home, I was so sore. I was like, I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna just start ditching him, Then when I used to see him, I used to run away, and then when he saw me, he's like, yo, come here. And then I got into the gym again and started working out. It was like that, and then until the time I got consistent, this last summer I got like all in. I just started working out every day. He kept on telling me if I work out, I'm gonna be the person I want to be.
Spends a full day in at school, right? And then he comes out and he balls out at practice. He's at every practice, he's at every workout all summer, right? Then he comes out and now he's trying to get a job too, right? So that he can help out with payments, and he's really good for that around the house. So I hear, and then and also like just to kind of get that work experience that he needs, right? Because money doesn't come easy, right? And like for him to kind of be out there helping his family, it should be definitely commended. And the heart that he has that he's developing in life through having to go through all that work, it is making everything that he does in the classroom, on the football field, in the weight room a lot easier, because he's learned those lessons in life, right?
Before the game, I just kept on working hard because I knew if I worked hard, nobody's gonna beat me, because I know I have the speed, so I just need to learn how to use it. So the first game, I went out, I was so scared. I was like, they're gonna beat us. I just seen their guys, I was so shook, like my heart just kept on racing. I started swirling my helmet before I even played. I was like, this is gonna be the end of me. And the first play, the ball was handed to my friend, and he go tackle. I watched him, I was like, oh. Second play, he go tackle it again. I'm like, oh my God. So that third play, they gave me the ball, so I got the ball. I was like, oh, you just run into them. And then I got my first, I'm pretty sure it was the first down. I was like, these guys didn't even hit me that hard, didn't even hurt. So for my performance, I'll give all the props to Mr. Coach Kisman, because he's like, if it wasn't him pulling me for the past, like the first month, like coming at me, pulling out of me out of the stairs, chilling with my friends, like chasing me every day, I wouldn't be here. And like, I feel like it was kind of a blessing, him coming at me, and I feel like it was God's plan for him to make me come here.
We see each other every day, and parents are busy working multiple jobs, right? Trying to make sure that roofs over their heads and food's on the table, and taking care of those needs, and as well as supporting family, not only in Canada but in Africa too, right? So understanding that, like, to be in that, that mentor role and that big brother role, like for a kid like Aaron, man, I couldn't be happier being there for him, right? Because he's a great dude.
Well, John, I'm pretty sure, like, he's a guy that since I was in grade 11, I see him pretty much every day. I see him like pretty much every day. We'll be with workout, volunteering, just talking sometimes, and we'll just chill. And pretty much, he's like my second, I would say, sibling, or I would count as my second dad, because he's always there for me, and he always pushes me to my limits to do great things and be better.
Thank you so very much again for tuning into the Sideline Showdown and for providing consistent support to what we do here, trying to promote amateur football in the province. Kito will be back next week, my main man, back on the program after his trip down to the States. And he'll continue with Kito's Corner and another segment next week. Also going to drop another new segment next week called Chill with Mike Still. Going to be more of an informal type of interview starting next week with Winnipeg Rifles running back Brandon Urcioli, sort of to get to know him more as a person, and that's sort of going to be the style of interview that Chill with Mike Still is going to be geared towards for basically every athlete, doesn't matter what level. We've also got highlights from what's likely going to be the game of the regular season between the Vincent Massey Trojans and the St. Paul's Crusaders. We'll also continue with Running with the Herd with an interview with Newton Benson, an offensive lineman for the Manitoba Bisons, and obviously plenty of highlights to put in there as well. Again, you can catch us with content all week long on our Instagram account, Facebook, and YouTube. Subscribe to those if you haven't already, and please be sure to check out all of the raw footage from all the interviews done that can also be found on our YouTube channel. Thanks so very much, and we will catch you next week.